Two friends, two minds, and one love for Arsenal Football Club. You are now listening to the Cod and Two Minds podcast.
Yeah, big baby.
Uh-huh. What up? What up? What up?
Oh, man, not too much. How you been?
Oh, man, I just, I woke up this morning thinking, let me go get some breakfast and then let me hit this bottle of whiskey and shit,
Rough game yesterday, huh? Rough game.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
What was funny is I took a listen again to our last podcast because I had the notion. I couldn't remember exactly what you said about the upcoming game against West Bromwich Albion. Oh, right. What is it again? Albion. Yeah. And you called it on the money. On the money. You didn't say like loss or win or nothing like that, but you called it on the money, exactly what we had to watch out for.
Oh, and what was that?
Physical.
Tony Pulis.
Be ready for Tony Pubis ball.
Right.
Watch out for the headers, the flicked on headers, and that's exactly what they brought to us.
Set pieces. If I was on the Arsenal training ground all week and I was Steve Bold, I would have just been working on set piece defense. And all week long. Wouldn't have worked on anything else because going forward, we look awful. And we'll get to that later. It's because of, a couple people played yesterday who, man, talk about falling from grace. I still don't know what happened to this one guy we're going to talk about a little later. But, they're an easy team to beat if you can defend the set piece. They really didn't do anything. Tactically, Wenger got outdid by Tony Pulis, which is a shame because Tony Pulis is kind of like Wenger. He doesn't really change his tactics, but he can organize his team defensively, and they work on set pieces. They remind me of like the U.S. national team back in the 90s. You know what I mean? Pack it in, get a set piece. And they do it better than anybody. And if you don't have your team up for that, up for the fight, before the game starts, then it's going to be a rough game. Talent alone isn't going to beat that. You got to have a plan of what you're going to do on set pieces, and it was just awful. Another display of dog shit. I'll just leave it at that. Dog shit.
The trippiest part is like I'm so numb to the whole thing, like not a cuss word uttered, not a it was just like a shrug of the shoulders, like of course.
Yeah, you just sit back and wait for it to happen, and you know what I mean. You just sit, now I just sit back and wait for it to happen, and it's a shame that the fans are divided. What'd you think about the banners?
It's a trip that it's a trip that anybody would be surprised. Even Wenger in his press conference at the after the game even mentioned how this is the worst run that the Arsenal Gunners have been on in 20 years. So it's not a surprise that there's, that the fire is getting lit under the asses of the Wenger out people. So, I mean, and then the people that are just like upset because we're sending a negative vibe through the Arsenal Football Club. Like, come on, man. Stop it.
I see those tweets, and I mean, those tweets piss me off more than anything, because of the banners. It's no wonder the team doesn't come out ready to play. They're sad. Professional footballers are sad, and it's affecting them, all the negativity. It's like, come on. That's even more of a knock on Wenger to not have them ignore all that shit and be mentally ready to play the game. Those are the funny ones. And I mean, at this stage of the game, if you're still hollering, you got to respect Wenger, the second banner, it's over. All good things must come to all good stories come to an end. And it was a great story, but it's turning into a shitty story real fast. And there's nobody to blame.
Yeah.
The board comes out and says he has plenty of money to spend. He doesn't spend. For years, we've always been a thin squad, and he never did anything about it. All the little mistakes throughout the years, they're just adding up, and it's just turning into a shitstorm. And when you look at him in those press conferences and you look at him on the sidelines, he doesn't even look like he's up for it. He looks pitiful.
Yeah.
And it sucks because he is somebody I admired. He is one of the main reasons I started liking the club, or I picked Arsenal to support. But I mean, he's just, you get old, you get tired, you get a huge ego, and he's always walked a thin line in his press conferences of being an egomaniac. As far as smug, as far as
I want to slap his smug little ass when he smiles at the press and he says, "Well, I know what the future entails for me. I just choose not to. I'm not. Today is not the day to. If dude, seriously, if fucking open your mouth and say it, dude. Like,
yeah, everything's a secret. You know what I mean? Just like what, back in the day, the injuries, the joke was, oh, they say he'll be out 3 weeks, but it turns into half a season. You know what I mean? It's like everything surrounding it it's just turning into a shit show, and not only Arsenal fans know these things, but other fans from, other teams crack these jokes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're so mainstream that, I had a Norwich fan, clowning me about the shit Arsenal does. And it's just like, damn, I don't know one thing about Norwich. I don't know your inner workings. I don't know what's going on behind the scene, but this guy knows everything because it's so mainstream and it's things that are just done over and over and over again. I mean, clearly, one way or the other, he should announce,
Yeah.
Because if he is going to stay and it keeps getting worse, then it's going to get worse. You know what I mean? If he announced at the beginning of the season he signed a 2-year contract, I don't think any of this stuff will be going on. I think people would know, oh, well, we only got 2 years of this guy left, and let's just see what he does. Hopefully we win. You know what I mean? But because he's left it in limbo, he's left everybody in a what's going to fucking happen situation. Then this is what you get: panic, vitriol, anger.
To address a couple of points you made, like it's not a good story anymore for us Arsenal fans. Yeah. This is the most wonderful story to every other team in the league, though. They relish in this, and there's a reason. And so, a lot like people have their favorite band, and it might not be for the last 3 albums that they released, but those first 3, wow, I love those guys, and I'm always gonna love them because of it.
Right.
I don't hold any ill will to Wenger. I don't. But there's nothing wrong with opening the door and saying, man, your time is up, dude. It's up. Like, I can't, you know, like you should be able to feel that you are putting the fans through a lot of pain and anguish.
The
Because
club, the club he says he loves, he's holding it back now.
yeah, because you can't be, because you can't accept the fact that we're, even though you said it in your press conference, we're playing as bad as we could have imagined in 20 years now, like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, if you're willing to say it, you said it out loud. So, hey, man, like, finish the job, finish it off. It's time to go.
Or be like, yeah, I've signed a 2-year contract and I'm going to do my best to rectify the situation and get Arsenal back on top. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're talking about the respect he's earned. That's the respect he's earned. If he comes out, if he's man enough to come out and say that, then you're going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm going to give this guy, I love this guy. I'm going to give him one last shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what everybody would do.
Yeah.
But he can't even do that. And so the club, the board and all those people, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So they're just like, And the thing with Kroenke, it's like Kroenke, people get on Kroenke all the time because he doesn't give a shit. And that's fine. I don't care if he gives a shit or not. But the thing is, he's giving them money, They've come out and said, hey, man, you got money to spend. Now whose job is it to buy players and spend that money? It's Wenger's. You know what I mean? And for years, he doesn't do that. And, you hear the people that are saying Wenger and we're not that type of club and we're not, that's not how we do things. Then if that's not how we do things and we're not type of club, announce that. Say, we have tons of money to spend, but I'm not going to spend it because I don't want our club ran that way or whatever it is. But, and then as Arsenal fans, we'll just have to accept where we are because we're not going to be able to compete in this day and age of football with not spending the money we need to spend. But Kroenke's giving them cash. We have lots of money, and he chooses not to buy players, and, giving up goals within the first 15 minutes of either half, that's something that's been going on for years, so defensively, we're not, there's so much that's been going on for a long time. And this is the year where it's come to an head. You know what I mean? We're seeing it week in and week out, the same little shit over and over and over again that we've been seeing for the last, 10 years? Easy.
Yeah.
So.
The last, I mean, it's always pushing it farther than it needs to go. So, if you're going to make your announcement that I'm going to sign my last 2-year contract, you really would have been helping the club if you would have said that back in December.
Exactly.
You waited and you waited and you waited. Like if you say that back in December, I'm gonna say odds are you probably got a good chance of holding on to Sanchez and Ozil because both of them could at least say I know where this franchise is going. I know where we're set right now. I'm willing to put the time in for a guy that believed in me. He believed in me. He signed me for a lot of money. He's paying me pretty good money. I'm willing to stay and play this out,
Right.
But, you done dragged it out to the point that we're now performing bad and they're upset. They're upset now.
Yeah. And you made it a headline week in and week out. That's you've distracted away from. It's a huge distraction. It's a huge mystery, and Arsenal. He's got the Arsenal world by the balls and the world football media by the balls because that's all anybody's talking about. Because everybody knows the club is in complete limbo. Either way,
Yeah.
Actually, if he stays, then we're not in limbo. We'll probably go through the same thing we're going for the next 2 years, unless he decides to to adapt and make some changes. But if he doesn't, then it'll pretty much be the same thing. But at least everybody will know. At least players who are thinking about coming to Arsenal and wanting to play for him will want to come. The whole 9 yards. But yes, he's made it a complete distraction. It's all anybody's talking about because it's a huge deal. But he doesn't seem to think so. He thinks I'll just wait. You know what I mean? It's cool. Don't worry about it. I'll just wait. No biggie. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, okay. That's fine and dandy if we're winning games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if we're winning and we're competing at a high level, then chances are he'll stay and everybody kind of knows that. But if we're not and we keep losing, then the later he says he's going to leave or he's not going to sign it, then, I mean, next year, I mean, who knows, So,
yeah.
It's
the thing and the state of transfer window media, it leaves me scratching my head sometimes. I'm not positive what stories are actually true and this and that,
Right.
I mean, I guess this is going to sound like to his defense a little, but, I mean, I believed that he tried to get Lacazette or whatever his name is.
I like the way you say it, dude. That was sick.
Yeah, Lacazette, whatever. I believe he went after him. I do. I do believe that he attempted to go after Benzema and even Higuain, in the past and stuff, and he didn't. But, maybe, it's just a thought, but, maybe this is the atmosphere that you've set around Arsenal. Over not just this last season or 2 seasons, but like the last good, like maybe 5 years, where these guys are looking at it like, yeah, okay, well, I would play in Champions League, but I'm not so sure we could do much more than just, maybe make it through the group stage. That's it. Like that's how good this team is.
Exactly.
And in the meantime, on the teams that some of these guys are playing on now, they're doing that now. And some of them are still playing. Some of them are still in it,
Right.
So
and
maybe they just laugh at Wenger. Maybe they laugh at the offer, to move on to, I mean, why wouldn't a player want to go and, even if they knew it was just a couple years, live in London? One of the most electrifying, fun, happening cities in all of Europe. To go give it a shot for a little while,
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, you if you're gonna pay 60 million for a transfer fee, you're gonna have to pay a lot in weekly wages, and if we're not competing with other teams on the weekly pay range front, then pretty much that's why all those deals went by the Hayside, because we weren't willing to pay what Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, some of those other teams are willing to pay. Well, Bayern don't really pay that much. I don't know how the fuck they do that, but for some reason they got their shit tight. But people know they're gonna go there and win consistently.
Yeah.
Whereas at Arsenal they don't really know that. It's a crapshoot. And Donald Trump, he talks about fake news. The world football transfer market media news, they created fake news. They created it like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? The whole concept of fake news is surrounding the transfer news or the transfer rumors. And years ago I used to follow it religiously. But it's so tainted and so shitty now that I don't even they've taken that joy out of getting online and looking up, transfer news. Like I don't even do it now. When I see people tweet, when I see people tweet rumors and news, I stop following them.
This is my favorite. So, admittedly, you hear me mention some of these from time to time, and it's just because, when I'm going through Facebook, the teaser title to the article says something, you know, and so just this last week, once again, it looks like Arsenal may finally land that striker from Spain and they're talking about Benzema, dude.
Yeah.
And so now I don't even click on the article, but one of my favorite things is to actually just click on the comments and see what people are saying.
Right.
And the first response I see is, again with this fucking shit. Stop it. Benzema is supposed to have been coming here for 5 years now. He's not coming. Drop it. Just drop it. I'm so sick of this. You know, it's like,
Clickbait. I'll tell you what, man, that clickbait, that clickbait must really be lucrative because, man, they'll try to get you with whatever. Anyway, enough of all this BS. Let's talk about the game for a little bit. Ramsey. I'm going to start with Ramsey. Let's go ahead and piss him on him. I don't know who had a worse game between Ramsey, Theo, and a few others, but Bellerin maybe. He's always going to be on there because I don't believe the hype anymore. He had an awful game. I was looking up some stats. He didn't make one tackle. He lost all his aerial duels, and you know, going forward, every cross and pass was shitty. So, you know, that's what we do to young players. You know, that's exactly what we do. And if you don't realize that, then you haven't been an Arsenal fan for a long time because this is a common trend. A guy steps up, he looks like he's going to be a world-class player, and by the, you know, third or fourth year, he's turning to complete dog shit, and he leaves the club and he goes somewhere, plays under a better manager, under a better system, and thrives. And that's clearly going to be the case with Bellerin. You have to look at it like, why do Barcelona still want this guy, even though he's playing like dog shit? Because they know they can get him in his system with their training and be around their players and their coaches, and he's going to be a better player than what he is now. And right now, he doesn't have competition. He's surrounded by, you know, crappy defending. The defensive mentality is not there. So, you know, he's regressing. I said I was going to start with Ramsey, but I went on Bellerin. I always get on Bellerin. He's a vampire. Okay. He's a vampire. But, Ramsey, I still don't, I don't even know what to say. Like he's completely gone, dude. Completely gone. There's no hope for Ramsey. If he's not thinking about leaving Arsenal for the good of his own game, then he's crazy. Now here's the thing. The one of the games I'm really interested in watching is I want to see Wales play during this international break. I want to see how he plays for Wales. If he gets on the pitch and turns into a completely different player like he was last summer during the Euros, then I'm really going to be scratching my head.
Thank you.
There's no excuse. Then it's all Wenger. It's all Wenger not getting the best out of this player. If he plays good for Wales, I'm really curious to see how he does. But other than that, I mean, was Ozil hurt? Was he sick? Is that why he played Ramsey?
Oh my God, dude! Don't even get me started on the whole Ozil saga.
Well, yeah. You know, he's got AIDS.
You know, for a couple of weeks I was pissed at Ozil, and now I realize like I'm pissed at Wenger for just jerking us around, dude. Like, you know, you can't tell me that you've left him at home for 3 out of the last 4 weeks, and there's not a problem that you have with him. You have some kind of a problem with Ozil. The only game you brought him was against Lincoln City. That's it.
Right.
Like, I'm sure get out of here, dude.
I'm sure he dragged him there. I know he didn't want to come.
Yeah, dude. Stop telling me about a flu and shit. He got a flu or a stomach virus, and oh God, get out of here, dude. Like, I'm sick of that.
He's got that Magic Johnson AIDS. You know what I mean? He's he's just working out his meds, trying to get situated. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, without him going forward, I mean, there's no cutting edge. There's no killer ball that's going to create anything. Although Xhaka did make a good pass to Sanchez, I'll give him a little credit. But all in all, I think Theo was probably the worst player on the pitch. And
Jesus, Theo. Oh my God.
Theo looked terrible. He reminds me of somebody who grew up playing soccer/football in America. And it's not a knock on American. It's not a knock on American football. It really is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But the intelligent side of the game, or the you know what I mean, the brain side of the game is just not there. He's just an athlete who just makes piss poor decisions. Anytime he has to make a decision, it's the wrong decision. There's no composure, no creativity. I mean, the one thing he can do is make good. He can. If he's smart enough to make a good run, he can collect the ball in front of goal and shoot, and it's usually on target.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to think and all he has to do is react, then he's pretty accurate with his shot. That's his thing. So I mean, because he can't do all the other fancy shit that smart footballers can do, why doesn't he just focus on that? Why doesn't he just take a step back, calm down? You know what I mean? Don't try to make anything happen. Get the ball to people who can make things happen. You time your run by staying on sides and, you know what I mean? Collecting the ball and taking shots on goal. That's it. It should be a real easy game for him, but he tries to do too much. The flicks, every pass, it's bad.
I'm not even gonna try to act like I remember exactly who it was, but I'm gonna say this: just a little bit of defense for Theo a couple times. So a regular game plan against Arsenal is to play a high line with your defense.
Yeah,
and West Brom was doing that, and so I'm going to say twice. I can remember twice specifically, maybe a third time, where I saw us get the ball back, and I looked to the top of the screen, and I saw Theo kind of take off.
Right. I did too.
And I saw the person that should be delivering that ball, because a high line should be paradise for Theo. It should be like, okay, well, let me time this run, take off, and just put the ball into open space. Theo will get there before anybody, right?
Right.
The person looked, kind of acted like he was about, and then stopped and just passed it sideways to the middle, and let's set up and build the attack up. And I'm like, you know what? If you want to play build the attack, then Theo's not the man that needs to be on the pitch.
Right.
If you want to play, let's fucking slash them and see if we can get people behind them and make things happen, then play Theo. Then play him. But,
exactly.
If the guys aren't going to make the pass, if they're not going to actually put it up there into open space and let Theo run it down, I don't know why he's on the pitch. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know either. And, when players, this is another knock on Wenger. If players are out of form, then they shouldn't be playing. Mm-hmm. Perez can play out there.
Mm-hmm.
Perez can play out there. Ramsey's clearly not in form. We're playing West Brom. Why not play somebody who's hungry? Or why not play somebody who, I don't care if he's a youngster or whatever. Just, you got to get players who aren't playing good or who are not in good form out of the starting 11. That sends a bad message throughout the team that, you can continuously play like dog shit and still get time. To that point, Mustafi, ever since his injury, he's been out of form.
Yep.
I know a lot of people don't like Gabriel. A lot of people, Rob Holding doesn't get a shot, but he's not in good form. So what does it do to keep playing him? Keep exposing him. Make him work his way back into form. And if you don't believe in the people that you have in the bench that can fill in against West Brom, then that's on you too. You didn't get the you didn't build the squad correctly. And I mean, players go through peaks and valleys. It's okay. It's okay to not play Mustafi every single week, especially when he's out of form and you have other center backs. Rob Holding, every time he plays, he's learning his craft. He's young, but every time he plays, he doesn't really hurt the team. Why not give him a shot with Koscielny? He's taller. You know what I mean? Mustafi looks like a fucking Italian CDM. You know what I mean? He looks like a holding midfielder back there. But
when he pushes up with the offense and he's like on that side of the half, sometimes I don't even realize that that's him. Like I'm like,
right.
He looks like a midfielder. Like, who is that? Oh shit, that's Mustafi that's entering the box right now.
Exactly. But I mean, that sends a bad message throughout the team. That sends a bad message to somebody like Alexis that, these same guys get to play every single week. I love Monreal, but he's not having a good year. Even if he's not having a good year, I like him better than Gibbs. But Gibbs is an experienced player. He's been at the team forever. Monreal is kind of a little dip in form. I know Gibbs has no heart, no courage, no aggressiveness. I know all these things, but why not give him a shot?
He's the cowardly lion. He's the cowardly. Yeah.
Why not give him a shot every once in a while in situations like this? But I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Early on in the season, we gloated about the squad depth we have this year. We have bodies.
Please don't remind me. Hey, please don't.
What it boils down to is we do have bodies, but Wenger doesn't believe in half those bodies. He only believes in a certain 11.
Yeah.
And
with any squad, like early in the season, a lot of squads are developing a personality, even though it might be the same guys, with one or two tweaks to the lineup, it may change the personality of your team. And then, as the season goes along, you set that personality of your squad. And this is how we play now. Like, I don't see that out of Arsenal. I see a squad that's like, asking, they're pandering for questions like, well, it was working early this year. How come it's not working now? And like
no adjustments. No.
But it was a trip, like you were saying. What I trip off of is if guys are out of form and play other guys and stuff, that's where I start to be embarrassed that I said look at our squad depth earlier in the season when I was saying that. Clearly the guys that back up, I have just about as many questions as the guys that are starting in front of them. But then there's one guy that it keeps coming back to for me, oh, look, I'm drawing a blank. Who's our partner on the right wing that went to Portugal?
Campbell,
Joel Campbell.
Right.
The state of the team right now, Joel Campbell would, if I was manager, would be in my lineup every week right now, because he was one of those guys that just, while the team was kind of squandering opportunities and not he took full advantage of his opportunities on the pitch.
Right.
And for him to not be on our first squad and on loan, but people all of them, man, all the young guys that ended up playing EFL Cup and stuff like that, that's great. You need those guys for EFL Cup or whatever. But Joel Campbell needs to be there.
Definitely. We because, I mean, when you watch us play now, there's no spark, there's no intensity, and when you watch Campbell play for Arsenal, you at least saw somebody working hard for the team. You don't really see that anywhere except for Alexis and maybe Cole Shioni, but and Welbeck. But I mean, you know, there's not enough of those guys out on the pitch.
Yeah, and that was another point I was going to make too, because I mean, it's not necessarily I've seen a lot of people making this comment, but oftentimes for me, strikers get a pass from me if they're just not getting service, dude. If they're not getting service, then you know what? I mean, you could say, hey, he didn't put away the 2 opportunities in 80 minutes he was on the pitch. But 2 opportunities in 80 minutes on the pitch is not good enough. It's not. You got to find a way to get him the ball. You need to experiment, tinker, figure out different formations, something that's going to get the guys the ball. Giroud has scored 60-plus goals in 4 years for us. We can't just say Giroud is dog shit now. He scored big goals for us for years now. But if we can't get him the ball, we can't figure out a way to get service to him, then it's not his fault. It's not.
No, it's the old Josie Altidore for the United States national team syndrome.
Oh God, yes.
He's a donkey. He's awful, but he's playing with the United States national team who can't get him the ball. And I mean, yesterday going forward, we didn't have any, there was no Ozil. So there was no killer pass. There was nothing really going forward. A lot of sideways passing, not too many shots, and lackluster defense on set pieces, the name of the game. But Wenger didn't stand up. He wasn't instructing. No switching. Same formation. Same everything. Same. You know what I mean? Just everything's the same. And the results. We're not getting the results now. And it's just shining a bright light on his legacy. You know what I mean? Some girl came at me yesterday and was like, "Well, I mean, at this point, was he ever really a good manager? Or did he just have Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira, Perret?" You know what I mean? And it's it's kind of like what Pep's going through right now with Man City. You know what I mean? He won all that shit with Messi, but really hasn't, got any of his teams after that over the finish line as far as Champions League. So, that question is being asked about Wenger. And the sad thing about Wenger is we've got a 20-year sample size of, what it really is, and people are afraid to say it. People are afraid to acknowledge it because he's done so much for the team. And it's like,
right.
It's not Arsene Wenger FC, it's Arsenal FC.
Yeah, I mean, he's tickled our taint, oh gosh.
Right.
Oh.
The funny is,
and one more quickie though, real quick. When you have Ramsey and Ox on the pitch, how come Ox is playing up front in the middle and Ramsey's playing in the back? When in the last 4 weeks, when you've played Ox in the middle of the pitch and you played him at defensive mid, he's really been doing well.
Right.
And Ramsey, the few times he's played in the middle of the pitch, maybe not for Arsenal, but for Wales, you just saw that it seemed to be a better spot for him. So you have the two on the pitch, but you play them opposite.
Right.
This old man is out of touch, dude. He's out of touch.
Right. It's ridiculous. The whole interchangeable thing, you kind of get to do whatever you want out there. But I mean, that leads to chaos. There's no, if everybody is interchangeable and you can move around and play wherever you want, then, when the team has the ball and, they're going at us on the counter, then it kind of leads for chaos as far as defensive structure. So that's an obvious thing. You know what I mean? That's what am I? I'm an Uber and Lyft driver, but that's an obvious thing. I've watched enough NBA basketball to know that, when the team's fast break, you gotta have your lanes, you gotta have people in the right spot in order to, stop those fast breaks or those counterattacks in football. But anyway, same old, same old. We got an international break coming up. I think it's the big one, the 2-week one. So we're still going to try to continue, God willing, coming out with a show on Mondays and just maybe talk about some international games, the USA game, you know, what some of the Arsenal players are doing, or anything in the news. Rumor has it Wenger is going to announce during this break whether he's staying or not. So, you know, let's all hold our breath and see if that's the case. Hopefully we get some closure to this and we can just move on, get behind the team and do whatever. I mean, we're behind the team. You got up for 5:30 to watch that game, didn't you, Fitz?
Yes, I did.
So that's not the point, you know, for all you spazzes out there. Oh, you don't support Arsenal because you're not liking what's going on. You know what I mean? But anyway, enough is enough. You can get us on iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review. Just do Cotton Two Minds. SoundCloud. You can reach me on Twitter at emarsho, EMARSHO. You can reach the show at CITM Podcast and drop us an email. Appreciate all the emails, all the support. Drop us an email at CITMpodcast@gmail.com. Fitty, what you got?
Hey, you got me at Gooner Rush. At Gooner Rush is my Twitter handle. You know, give us a shout out, talk to us if you want, and I'm gonna leave you with one thing, okay? Like the great once heavyweight boxing champion said, Evander Holyfield, style make fight. Style make fight, okay? Show some style. Come on, Arsenal. Like,
do something.
Like, give me something. Style make fight, okay?
If I was the interviewer, I'd be like, you know, it's Styles, right? You know, it's Styles. Yeah.
Wait, Style. Wait, how does it go?
That would have blew his fucking brain up. You know, the banner would have fucking his head would have blown up. Anyway, enough is enough. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Y'all have a good one, man. Come on, you Gunners.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Cotton Two Minds. Please head on over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review the show. All feedback is much appreciated. If you would like to contact the show, drop us an email at citmpodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at CITMPodcast, at Gooner Rush, and at eMarshall. That's EMARSHO. The music in this podcast has been provided by Statics. If you like what you hear, be sure to check them out at staticsentertainment.com and follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Statics Music. That's STATX Music. Peace.